Hey guys, Kevin here. What I've got here is a collection of Game Boy Advance games, just a small collection. The Game Boy Advance was a fantastic system. You know, there was the original Game Boy Advance, there was the SP, and then there was the Game Boy Micro, which I love. It was a great system. This came before the 3DS and the DS, and after the Game Boy and Game Boy Color. It was available, I think it was 2001 to 2009, so you know, it had a good run, about 8 years or so. The main problem with this system nowadays, but was less of an issue at the time, but the main problem nowadays is the fact that there's a lot of fake cartridges about there. You know, you check online, even in shops, you're going to come across a lot of fakes, and it's a big problem for collectors. Spotting a fake, it's a little bit difficult at first, and you know, it wasn't something that I was really clued up on, but I've did a little bit of research on it, and it's not as hard as you would think. You know, you just have to, have some due diligence, do some research, and you should be okay. Now, you wouldn't think that this would be a problem, buying a fake, because, you switch it on and the game will still play. But there are problems, for example, one of the biggest problems with fakes is that, they're more likely to crash, they're more likely for save files to be corrupt, and that is a big problem. You're playing something like Zelda or Pokemon or Yoshi's Island. If you're spent 20 hours playing it and then it crashes, you're going to be very, very angry. This is a game that you need to play over time and you progress. I was reading about it though, and a lot of people are very, very annoyed about it. I read someone saying that because of how popular fakes are or how commonplace they are, that they just refuse to buy games on eBay. Because it's so common to buy there. But I disagree with that. Firstly, I disagree with it because eBay is such an easy place to find games. There's so many people selling games there. And secondly, because it just isn't practical to run around different retro gaming shops to find Game Boy games, original Game Boy games. It's also worth noting though, these fake Chinese games have been around for years. They're still being actively sold. You can buy them from AliExpress and other Chinese stores online, and they're not going away. They've been around for years. What that means is basically is a lot of people don't actually realise that they've got fakes, and then they'll send them into a store, they'll sell them on, and then the store doesn't know they have a fake. So, unless you actually inspect them, you wouldn't know. So that's what I'm going to do in this video. There's a lot of things that you can check to see how whether a Game Boy Advance game is fake or whether it's real. I'm going to include lots of links in the description of this video to help you, but I'm going to just share what I've learned so far. Now, the first one would be the cart colour. This is more relevant to games like Pokemon that came in specific colours, but if this was in grey, then it's definitely a fake. These ones all came in green or red. Most other things aren't so obvious though. One other thing to check is the cover art. Now, so if you check for Yoshi's Island and it doesn't look like that, it could be fake. But there's some things to take into account. The Game Boy Advance was region free. That means that you can play games and games from Japan, games from China, games from the USA, games from Europe. It doesn't matter. And you can see here. Sorry, I've not got no autofocus on. If I zoom now, if you see here, you should see there that says Europe, but this one says USA. Now both these games will play. The thing to note is if this was an American Yoshi's Island and this was a British one, or a European, sorry, they would have different cover art, and a lot of things change. Sometimes you see the Nintendo logo on one side and sometimes they put it on the other. You can see this one's got it on the left, this one's got it on the right. This one as well has got it on the right hand side, this one's got it on the left. So there's lots of different things to check out. You really have to go online and just, if you're buying from eBay, just do a quick Google search and find images to see for your region, for the region of the cart being sold, what is the cover art. You need to look at whether that's the one for Europe, or whether it's a USA one, that kind of thing. If it's different cover art, if it's, sometimes it's really obvious, it looks really, really fake. It's just, for example, this to put a picture of Mario or Yoshi on the front, and, and it's just all put together very, you know, in an amateur way, in a kind of obvious way that it's fake. Sometimes it's not though, so you do need to kind of pay attention. Now, down here as well, that you'll see a series of a series of code, and this code changes a lot. It's there, you know, so the AGB, can't even see that through the camera, AZLPEUR. Now these codes change and they're different for each game, for each region, that kind of thing. There's other codes on the back as well. Model number, AGP. Now, on the back here, if this is a fake, you might see this a little bit different. The Nintendo logo might be a little bit, you know, I've seen some ones where the eye is a little bit bigger than normal, where they've got the wrong code here, and that's a problem. You'll see that sometimes. Now, there's other things as well, as like you can pay attention to the logo, the Nintendo logo. Perhaps that will be off, and you know, and it doesn't look right. One other thing to note, and this is the thing about buying on eBay, you'll find it difficult, is there's a little indent. Now, see, you can see there. See, there's 2 numbers there. Most official games, most real games have that. I haven't came across a fake version myself yet, but most of the real games seem to have this indent. Now, it's got 2 zeros, and if you see here, you should be able to see a number somewhere. It's coming through. You see the number there on the right hand side? It's the same with this. You should see a number. I can't even see where it is in this one. Oh, it's down here. So there's a number down here. It's kind of indented. Also, you can't see this yourself, but see in the middle of this, there's a kind of little indent in here. So there's a little indent in the middle here of the cartridge. You can feel it there, kind of like that in the back, but you know, it's under the label. You can see I've opened this already, and that's something we'll talk about just now. So there's a lot of things to check, but here's my advice. If you're going to be collecting for the Game Boy Advance, then what you should do is buy one of these. I think anyone who's got a Game Boy Advance, a Game Boy Advance SP or a Game Boy Micro, they need to buy this. This is what's called a tri-ring screwdriver, sometimes called a tri-point screwdriver, or simply a Y1 screwdriver. You can pick this up for a dollar, like 99 cents or 99 pence, you know, depending where you are. And it's very, very cheap. I got this from eBay. You see them on Amazon. You see them lots of different places. The reason you need this is that Nintendo use this in a lot of their products, and they use it on the cart. Now you can see here, I've taken this out, and that's because I want to show you the chipsets. This is, now I've taken those out. I'll quickly show you this one. So I've taken all those ones out, the screw out of these ones already. Now I've talked about the labels and the art and things like that, the little indent in the plastic, but I think one of the surefire ways to prove that something is fake is to open the cart up, and it becomes a little bit more obvious once you open the cart up. What I will say though, you can see here the tri-ring. What I will say though is, if you do get one, simply send it back. You know, if you're not supposed to be selling fake games on eBay, so if you buy one and it's being sold as real, then simply send it back, get your money back. So that's why I don't think there's a huge risk of buying from eBay. What I'm going to do now, whenever I buy a game from eBay, I'm going to get this screwdriver, and 2 seconds later, I'll check whether it's real or not. So what you do is you unscrew that, comes off very, very easily. You can see that there. And all you do is you turn it round and then pull. You see that? You pull down and then that's it open. So what I'm going to do is do this with all the games. You can see here, they're all like that. So we'll set that one there. We'll set this one over here. Better not get these mixed up, eh? So, in fact, I'll set them next to each other so I don't. Very good chance I will. I'll set them top of each other, that's more practical. So there's Zelda. Stormbreaker, I mean, this is a game I'll probably sell. So, I've got all my games here. And last but not least, we've got Pokemon. If I can get that up. The process of putting a game back on is the exact same, so I'll show you that at the end. There we go. So I'll just get these and try and get them all in shot if I can. Now from here, this just looks like a mess. This doesn't look like it's obvious what is. Maybe it is, I don't know, maybe you can see which one is fake and which one's not. In fact, looking through the camera, it does make it a bit obvious when you can see it. Okay, so there's a few things to look at here. First thing would be the pins here. Now, I'll tell you just right now, this Pokemon version that I got this with this Game Boy Micro. This one's fake. And there was a few giveaway signs on the front, which I didn't show you at the time, but I'll show you afterwards. But in the chipset, there's a lot of clues. Now, the first one would be, if I get this up, I apologise if I keep changing the focus, but when I do autofocus, it keeps jumping around like a madman. Okay, so you've got the crazy Chinese right here with the sticker. You don't really get that with the real games. You don't get that at all. This here, this is like a battery. There's certain games, I believe, that have a battery, but most do not. Here's the thing. A lot of Game Boy Advance games do have a battery built in. But what they do is they have it built into the circuitry, and the battery powers, when you power up the game, it powers up the battery and it recharges it. But these games don't have that, these circuit boards, so they need to actually put their own battery in. Now you can see the fake, the Chinese writing on, it's a bit of a giveaway there. But the other thing is the pins. Now, it's maybe a wee bit more obvious if I put it here. Now, this is a real game. Now, see if you look at these pins. See how there's a little pinhole all the way across in the line? Now, if we look back at Pokemon, notice how that's different. This one, the holes are starting here, then they go up and down, up and down, up and down. So if I just I'll put this one back on just now. As I said, you just do it in reverse. Click here, and you should be able to just slide it in. So, I still need to put the screw in. But here's another thing you can do. See, if you look here, if you're in a shop and you're buying a game, it's maybe hard to see here. Where's my phone? Get some light for you. So maybe this will help you see. Now, see here, you should be able to see the circuit board by using a torch or using your phone as a light to see in here. So there's a few things you'll be looking at. One is those pins. The fake ones seem to have all the pins going up and down, whereas the real ones have all the pins in a row. So you can see the difference here. Now the other thing would be here. Now see the branding. Now there isn't a certain way that Nintendo does it, and I'll show you just now. Here's a few different examples, right? So this is an official game, and you can see the chip here, MX. Everything seems quite clean though. 2001 Nintendo, AGB, EO320. Now this all it's all written cleanly, it's all written like you would expect, but there are different versions, different circuit boards around here. You can see this one has actually got, instead of just writing Nintendo, they've got the Nintendo kind of logo. But again, all the pins are there. It's all quite neat, and it seems to have the same, big chip there. It's got the little transistor type of thing chip there. And it's the same in this one. This one is the same as the other one. These two are the same. And I'll get Yoshi back open. You can see this one. But now look at this. So I'll hold this one up for comparison. If you look at the Pokemon now, see how it's different? Now, not only the holes, but if you look at the way the Nintendo's written, it's it's like the font's different, and this one where it had Nintendo in the bubble is a little bit different. But I mean, there's a lot of things giving this away here. You've got the Chinese writing, you've got this big, I think this is a battery here. It's instead of having this one chip, that kind of layout with that chip and that chip, and the pins you've got the pins all over the place, you've got the Chinese sticker, you've got the battery, everything's off. Now the other thing off with this is the label. Now, one of the reasons I bought this was because I actually thought this one was fake, but it wasn't. It's just the label is faded. So that is something that you kind of need to pay attention to, because some of the labels, it's not obvious what's real and what's not. But if you see here, as I said earlier, you've got the Nintendo logo, you've got the code, you've got the indent here, the 2 zeros, you've got the CE, that's a European thing, I think, and then you've got the Nintendo seal of approval, world famous seal of approval. Then here, now at first glance this all looks great, but you soon see this doesn't have the numbers, and if you feel it, there's no indent. I've seen some of these fakes and they've actually, they've got the wrong spelling, but you can see here it actually looks real here with the code. You look at this Nintendo logo though, it's maybe not obvious so much, I hope you can see this, but the N is too close to the bubble at the end. There should be more spacing, and it's kind of all squashed in. And it's the same with the Nintendo seal of approval sticker. It's all kind of off. It's maybe not coming through a little bit. I'll show you that in a clip. But that's one of the biggest problems. One of the biggest giveaways. Sorry. This, when you see this up close, this Nintendo logo and this Nintendo seal of approval logo, it's really blatantly fake. You can tell it when you see it next to a real one. And now that you've seen it, once you've seen it, you will be able to see others and tell which one is fake and which one is not. But that's a big giveaway for me. It's all kind of close to the left. And this one, it's all spaced out properly. This one, it's all, see that there. So, I've got the screw back in, and if you put it back into the Game Boy, put it on, now, you now know that this game is a fake, but as you can see, plain fake. As I said, for certain types of games, buying a fake will be less of an issue. It's more a problem with games that have save games, that have save files. You can see there is a save file there already. The problem is, though, that most of the fakes tend to circulate around the games with save files because they're popular. For example, Zelda, the Mario Advance games. The Sonic games are quite popular as well, but Pokemon is especially, there's so many fakes out there. And I would say the problem is that a lot of people don't know they have it. I've said to the guy that I bought this from that it's fake, and I doubt he even knew that it was fake. So I hope you guys found this useful. I don't profess to be an absolute expert on this. I'm learning as I go along, but there's a lot of great information about this online. And I'm going to include as many links as I can below so that you can, go in the right direction. Please do, leave a comment below and share what you know about this as well. I think it'd be good if we can all help each other with this. And don't give up on collecting Game Boy Advance games. You can pick up some really good games for quite cheap. I picked up Yoshi's Island for only £5. I got Zelda for £4 or £5. If you get any game at that price, any Zelda game at that price, it's great. There's a lot of games that hold the value and expensive, but I think in general, the Game Boy Advance is an amazing system to collect for. They're pretty cheap to pick up, the handhelds. Some of them are in great condition. And there's over 1,000 games to collect. A lot of them are garbage as usual. It's the same with any system. But there's a lot of classic games as well. So don't be put off collecting for the Game Boy Advance because of this. Because I think, all you need to do is buy a 99 cents or a 99 pence screwdriver, the Tri-Wing or Tri-Point or Y1 screwdriver. Get this. Make sure you buy this. Even buy this when you're buying your system. Make sure you have one of these. You'll be glad of it. It's a very cheap purchase, and it, you can look at all the label and never be 100% sure. But as you can see, once you get these, once you get the cartridge open, once you look at the chipset, you'll know for sure whether something is fake, whether the card is real or not. And if it is, if you open it up and it is fake, all you do is take a picture of it, send it back in a message to eBay as evidence, and just say, listen, this game is fake, I want my money back. And you either have just get your money back automatically, or you may have to send it back. It depends on the seller, I believe. I'm not sure. But yeah, don't be put off by buying games on eBay. You can check yourself, you can verify it. But if you're looking at the picture online, you know, just look at the things, you know, that I was talking about, as far as looking at the logo. As you can see in this one, in this particular one, it was the logos that gave it away on the outside. On the back, there was nothing that was really giving it away, but if you had to look at the chipboard, and if you saw this in a shop, you'd notice those little holes are all over the place. So that'd be another telltale sign. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope some of you found this useful, and you know, I'd love to hear from you, so please do leave a comment, share your knowledge with us all, and I appreciate any feedback you can give me on this, right? Till next time, guys. Thanks for watching.